You're watching KCAU, KCAN TV. And now, the news team that's making a difference. Greg Lund. The weather with Julie Niggis. And sports with Tim Seaman. This is the Major 9 News.
We found that the 6 counties that I've declared a disaster area because of the tornadoes are not going to be eligible to get a presidential disaster designation.
Counties in western and central Iowa that were ravaged by last week's tornado outbreak will not be receiving any federal help. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dawn Scott in for Greg Lund. It was 9 days ago when the tornadoes ravaged much of western and central Iowa. Today it was revealed that those who suffered at the hands of that storm will be getting nothing from the federal government. Brian Allen has been following this story for most of the day. He joins us now live on our set with all the details. Brian?
Dawn, 6 counties were named disaster areas: Sac, Adair, Guthrie, Union, Dallas, and Greene. Now, the disaster declaration makes them eligible for federal assistance, but unfortunately, those counties won't be seeing a dime from the federal government.
The governor seemed in good spirits as his motorcade pulled up to the Sioux City Hilton. He was in town to speak to the Sioux City Noon Rotary Club. And while many of the questions he fielded dealt with economic development, he was thinking of another kind of economics, specifically disaster funds for 6 western and central Iowa counties that were ravaged by tornadoes.
We found that the 6 counties that I've declared a disaster area because of the tornadoes are not going to be eligible to get a presidential disaster designation. So the state of Iowa is putting together our own program to try to help the storm victims.
To receive federal disaster relief, minimum damage levels must be reached in a county. And apparently the 6 counties listed as disaster areas did not meet the minimum criteria.
And having the experience we've had of going through many big disasters, we could determine that we weren't going to meet that threshold this time. Nevertheless, we have several families and some businesses that are very adversely affected. We have the Department of Economic Development and the Iowa Finance Authority utilizing some existing programs we have, like Community Development Block Grant Program and the Iowa Finance Authority's housing program, to try to help provide some grants and lower interest loans.
So for those trying to put the pieces back together, it appears that there was more of a calm before the storm than there is afterward. And it also appears that any financial assistance will be coming only from the state of Iowa itself.
Now, Dawn, as you can see, the residents of those 6 counties won't be left completely out in the cold, but how much money they receive and when they receive it is a question that only time can answer.
All right. Thank you, Brian Allen, for that report.